Hey guys, welcome back to ArtosisCasts. I'm pretty darn excited to be casting a match between these two players. In the top right, my personal favorite player to watch, other than Flash, I guess, it is Sharp. And in fact, I probably actually like to watch Sharp more, although I probably watch more Flash games, if that makes sense. But stylistically, Sharp is my favorite player. Get a lot of inspiration from this guy. Definitely one of the most fun players to watch, bar none, I think, across all races. And his opponent down here, we casted him a few days ago on this channel. It's the very famous fastest map player who has been in ASL. It is Brain, and he is a very, very good Protoss player. The last game I cast of him, Jaedong kind of crushed him, but Jaedong's in great shape right now. And so I don't want people to look at that and be like, no, he sucks, he's the fastest player. I really don't feel like that's the case. And here's the thing, no one disrespects Protoss and fastest more than me. Okay, I want to say that I'm a pretty big hater, but like legitimately, this guy's a very, very good player. So kind of excited to see what he's going to be able to bring in the Protoss versus Terran matchup here on Radeon. But I think it can be hard to play against Sharp because Sharp has a very interactive style, right? There's so many different styles that you can play, really in pretty much any matchup. But like, for instance, in Terran vs. Protoss, Flash's general style is one of optimization, right? And some of the other best Terrans in the world, Light and Royal, also play a very optimization style-based play, where you're trying to nail everything and then do some sort of move out, right? Like whether that's going to be a punishing move out or, just like a timing attack that's lined up because you've optimized very, very well, and maybe your optimizations scare your opponent and force him into making a mistake that allows the attack, that type of thing, right? That's a very hard style to play, and when someone hits it, it looks unbelievably strong. But it's also much easier to play against because there's very little pressure coming out. Now, Sharp is a player where, well, he puts on unbelievable amounts of pressure. He is like Mr. Vulture. The way that Sharp plays, he's generally just looking to get vultures in. He creates a lot of opportunities for himself, brings out a lot of kind of like original styles with his movement, his vulture counts. He's got a bit of killer instinct behind those on how to get some probe kills, how to make those vultures gain him some value. And I think that for most people is harder to play against in a lot of ways, or at least it feels that way, I think, right? Where, yeah, maybe Flash and Light have like an inevitability of playing against them. We're like, well, if I don't screw him up, he's going to screw me up. Whereas things could be going perfect for you against Sharp. I can't tell you how many games of his I've casted where I'm like, oh, Sharp's in a terrible spot. And then he slips vultures into 2 spots, and I'm like, Sharp's winning. So, anyways, enough Sharp shilling here. I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of his games and would probably agree with me on that assessment of what they oftentimes look like. And yeah, so Sharp's SCV going to get in. You can note that he did not do the End Scout, and that is, of course, because he went for the gasless expansion that we've been watching this whole time. It was a 1 depot gasless, although he did make a Marine before the 2nd depot, which is, some people do it, some people don't. But overall, just a very, very strong build here. And yeah, I guess we'll see about the factory coming up. Is he going to go ahead and grab a secondary factory? Most likely. This is just kind of how this normally goes. So let's take a look down here at Brain's base. Robo coming up, as well as at 2nd Gateway. Range still on the way. Dragoon down here, and he will be probably poking this bunker. You do want to try to force the gasless expansion player to go into siege mode. I feel like if you do not pressure them into siege mode, that becomes a pretty big advantage for the gasless expansion player, right? Because like if you can get 4-ish SCVs, repairing, that makes the Protoss economy actually get ahead for that amount of time, right? So you can see here, Sharp is actually up like six workers basically consistently here. If you get even 3 workers mining, 3 workers repairing, suddenly the Protoss economy is actually mining more at these worker counts. So just want to throw that out there. And in fact, that's exactly what he's going to be able to do. He's going to force 3 SCVs to repair. Oh my god, you see that getting blocked? The SCV that rallied out got in the way of the one he pulled down. So he brings 4 down just to finish it up. You only actually need 1 per Dragoon, so perfect balancing there. Engineering Bay, of course, coming up for Sharp, and we'll see. Like, you don't have to go... You can try to go siegeless here, for sure. He's going to poke 1 from the high ground, which is kind of nice. This is a very thin area, but, you know, he's trying to say, no, you get siege. Right? And, like, I think Sharp's going to try to avoid it because he is going into 3 siege tanks. So what we might see is, like, 3 siege tank, careful micro. You float the barracks here, so it's hard to click on the tank. Right? So, like, if the tank is underneath, he can't focus fire it. And if you try to move command forward and just attack move, the shots will be spread between tank and bunker. So Sharp does a good job of pushing Brain back and doesn't... Well, he actually starts siege mode after tanks 2 and 3. So he's actually playing like a very defensive style here. You can see his turrets going up, and the thing is he kind of has to make those turrets regardless. But yeah, getting that siege mode, and actually Goliaths as well. So yeah, he has that armory. It looks like this is, you know, it's funny because I talk about how Sharp is so much about Vulture harassment, but here he is actually doing like a gasless expansion into a very like optimized centric type of play. You know, we oftentimes called it like the Goliath build, right? Where this isn't exactly that, but it's very close. He's going Goliath siege tank. He's going fast upgrade. So it's upgrade Terran is what you're looking at. And we should see a starport started right about now. That would make the most sense, but he doesn't have to. It is popular nowadays and has been for a while to skip the starport and just go into 1-1 and more factories. And yeah, he is actually just going to go into more factories. So this is not actually going to be an upgrade Terran. This looks like it will probably be a 5 or 6 factory rush. Now, Sharp is up 10 workers, which is pretty significant. His economy is pretty awesome right now. Reaver Tech is coming out. Multiple gates, going up to 4 gates, as well as the 3rd Nexus here for Brain. And yeah, we're gonna kind of wait and see if Brain goes up to 6 gates or 8 gates or what here, because you know, you really have to take this type of push very, very seriously. Now, it's only 2 Goliaths, and he's going speed and mines, so it looks like it's going to be a faster timing push coming out of Sharp. If you're going to go for the slower variety, oftentimes you'll start the Goliath range and end up getting 4 Goliaths with it, right? And the Goliath range, the 4 Goliaths basically will kill a shuttle in a couple volleys. Whereas 2 aren't likely to kill the shuttle, but it will stop the shuttle from floating over your army, and for that, you don't need range. The range kind of zones the shuttle out and forces like an all-in maneuver with the shuttle if you're going to utilize it offensively, as opposed to defensively. Now, he does land these Reavers over here, a little bit of a containment on Sharp. Sharp going to start moving out. In the meantime, let's take a look at Brain's tech. There it is, the Citadel. This is very important. We'll take a look and see if he gets that Zealot legs started right away, because that's something that has been a big, big deal that I've been talking about a lot, where I feel like you have to... Look, he gets it started instantly, okay? So this is something that we find a lot of pro Protosses missing. Just every Protoss is missing this, where it's like, when you start your Citadel, if you get legs right away, you're much more likely to hold a push like this. Now, will Sharp actually push the whole way? You can play like this, push out a little bit, and then just take a 3rd. Totally doable, totally fine build, and in many situations, actually the best choice. Because if you keep going, and they slow you down enough, and they crush the push, you're in trouble. Now, if Sharp were to get up to here, amazing position. If legs are done and he's like here, suddenly you might end up losing because of these moves. So yeah, I'm going a little bit far into it, so we'll see how this one plays out. But he's still got the 5 factories. He's adding his depots here very well. Yeah, the Reaver being pulled back a little bit. And I love the tactics we see from Sharp, by the way. So Sharp right now has actually set up really, really well. He's brought his army way forward. Look at the amount of Dragoons he's gotten right there. That's really fantastic. Dealt some damage to the Reavers. Not really taking that much damage as of yet. But yeah, the tactics he utilized, running the Vultures around, laying some mines and stuff, kind of brought the attention, not only from us, but from Brain, and he was able to move from here to there very, very quickly. And now you can see he's actually kiting out and deciding to go after this base. Now, that does make a wider area of defense for him. And here come these speed Zealots. Notice the Zealots are ready. And as I mentioned, if they're ready and you're not here, you might be in some trouble. Now, that is a huge Siege Tank volley. He just killed both of the Reavers there, and he gets on top of the Siege Tanks. So Brain will be able to clear this despite losing those Reavers. Really, I mean, the whole push thing, Flash has made it very clear that Zealot legs are the defining factor as to whether or not the fast Terran push is going to work or not, and the Zealot legs here are doing great. Now, that being said, look at what Sharp is doing. He's being very aggressive with the Vultures. When your opponent loses a lot of Dragoons, Vultures gain so much value. And you can see here he's making like 3 more Dragoons, but he's mostly on Vultures. Honestly, if he just rallies down endlessly here, he might be able to do a little bit more, because the Zealots don't really get to make any choices against the Vultures. Only Dragoons do, right? So when they're very low on Dragoons, and look, the health isn't even that high. I actually think Sharp is maybe missing. Yeah, okay, he just figured it out. He just looked at it and was like, oh, wait, these are really low. Like, we can just fight. The Vultures, you know, once you get up to about, like 7 Vultures beats 2 Goons, just to make that clear, right? Like, Goons wreck Vultures, but, like, sometimes you get in these weird situations where it's a weird number of Dragoons and, you know, or maybe they have weird health, and then suddenly your Vultures can actually turn and fight. Now, during this, we have down here, I don't know why a Goliath is here, but the Vulture laying mines obviously makes a lot of sense, laying a couple mines on these bases. Looks like he's having a little bit of a rally issue. He might want to kill the eggs, or 1 egg even. Of course, that can be dangerous against Sharp as well, but something you might want to think about. Now, a DT slipping up the side. Sharp has a new base up here. Unfortunately for Brain, there are some mines in there, so that will clear the DT, and that's not going to get anything really done. Missile turret on the way. Sharp continuing to just rally out, and you can see that Sharp has actually gotten himself into what I consider to be a pretty fine position. Science facility is coming up. He does have his 1-1 already. Does he have a second army? He has a second army making, so he's going to get 2-2 going. He's got 3 bases, 55 workers, against 58. And he's got a very good spread, as you can see, right? Not like a perfect wall here or anything, but, you know, he might, because this is being taken, leave this open so he can quickly slip down this lane and attack it. But yeah, I think Sharp has actually done pretty well. You know, I think a huge part of it was just killing so many Dragoons in the fight they had over here. Yes, it got held, but he killed the Reavers and the Dragoons, and that kind of like gave him breathing room to get everything set up. And when you look at how close the supplies are, I definitely like this position right now for Sharp. Now, let's take a look. All right, double forge and some shuttles coming. Getting that observer speed as well. And it looks like it's probably going to just go into some Psy Storms, you know, the speed shuttles with that. So kind of like this heavier shuttle style, but it's only 4 base right now. So, you know, the thing that's I've been kind of saying too many times because it comes up in TVP all the time is a lot of the game at a point like this revolves around the 5th base for Protoss, right? If you start a 5th base, is Terran going to attack you? Is Terran going to take a 4th base? In this situation, I feel like a lot of situations, it could go either way. In this particular one, I feel like Sharp has enough supply that he really has options in both directions. Now, Dragoon's moving to the bottom left. He's going to go ahead and clear out. I love that he got observer speed so quickly, by the way. It makes it a lot easier to walk around and clear mines that you know Sharp is going to have everywhere. But, and look at this, runs it. Dude, this is what Sharp does. Just suddenly, how did these Vultures get behind everything? Not exactly sure, but they get into a fantastic position right there. Does a drop up on this 3rd base location, and that's going to be a little bit annoying as well. The Zealots going up to clear that. Dragoons actually walking into a lot of these mines down here. Sharp just doing fantastically with the Vulture movement. Just getting so much done at the moment. Now, that being said, he hasn't made any more SCVs, and in fact, it looks like he had to run some from a Psy Storm. So, yeah, it looks like a Psystorm drop. Dude, there was so much action. There's like Vultures here, a drop here, and apparently a Storm drop hit his third base. But yeah, he's at that 55 count, which is where he was at the last time I looked at it, but he probably lost a few in there against 68 probes. Now, here's the 5th base location, and now Sharp has to decide. He can start a command center here, or he can attack. All of these choices are completely fine. EMP on the way here for Sharp. Honestly, I think he should start another command center. Like, he's macroing very, very well. He's going to have a lot of supply. I think we're high enough on economy that he could start the command center and maybe push. Like, at this point in the game, it doesn't feel like fortune minerals are going to be the difference on that. Oftentimes, earlier in the game, it is. You know, when we're talking about closer to, like, 12 minutes. But yeah, it comes in with another Storm drop. Yeah, not going to get that many SCVs. A couple SCVs, 3 SCVs go down. Maybe kill a Vulture or 2 in there as well, yeah. But good dodging overall from Sharp, not a big deal. And there's that 4th command center. I think Sharp will start to push as well, like at least into this area. You definitely want to zone out this area minimum. So right now, you know, Brain is getting ready for maybe he's going to attack in. There are a lot of mines underneath this army, so it's not a terrible time to try and attack in. And gonna drop out the High Templars. Okay, trying to get some storms. You can see as the Zealots come up, Sharp is pulling back over his own minefield here. So the thing is, if you're sieged here and Brain hits, he's gonna blow up a lot because of those mines. But a very good pullback there from Sharp. And in fact, oh my god, that shuttle almost going down. We hear High Templars being sniped as well, by the way. Oh, and he gets the shuttle there with 2 High Templars still in it. So very good sniping there from Sharp overall. The Zealots and Dragoons continue to come up. And just a great setup here from Sharp. I love the line. It's so deep. The more you attack, the more efficient he's going to become. Hey guys, sorry if you just saw a little blip there. StarCraft actually kind of froze on me. You can't expect a small indie company like Activision Blizzard to be flawless in this day and age with a 25-year-old game. The technology just isn't there. So, anyways, sorry about that. Anyways, back to the action. Sharp is very quickly moving across the center map. This is a super aggressive push. I think he just realized, right, he's got a decent siege line here. He did kill a lot of units, and he's just pushing across, picking off so many free Dragoons that were on the left-hand side. In the meantime, you see that Brain kind of mirrored that going across the bottom, maybe in case he moved to the south, but Sharp just eliminates those units almost for free. A little bit hectic here. His command center overflies its destination to the 4th base. He will float that back, excuse me, and get his 4th base up in mining. We'll see if he's able to get a 5th base. That's oftentimes a very tough thing for Terran to do on Radeon. But right now, he's got a really, really good setup. I love this missile turret. I love these mines here, as you can see. And he's just kind of, he's staying further forward than I normally see. I feel like most Terrans stay back here. Definitely that's where I have been playing Radeon from. But he's staying in a more forward position. You can see this little bit of a movement back and forth. He's laying some additional mines on the side. Look at his Goliath placement. He is, do you see what he's doing? Dude, tactically, this guy's the best. Like, seriously. I love tactics, right? The difference between tactics and strategy is such an important one. Strategy is like the overarching thing you're trying to do, but you see these moves that he's making. Oh my god. We actually have an attack coming in. I'll talk more about that in a second. Huge Psystorms going down, and in fact, some mines still in here, and he's trying to drag those with those Zealots. And he actually kills an okay amount of tanks, but loses a huge amount of supply himself. Sharp supply not super, super high right now, and will continue the push. I don't think he should be doing this. He's going to lose all these tanks. He needs to pull these back immediately. This was the wrong move, 100%. When you win a battle like that, I know it feels good to keep going, but really you want to pull back to a more defensive position and get more Vultures down there in front, because look at this. The rallies of Protoss come out very, very fast. He eliminates a lot more siege tanks. Look at these Psystorms going down. Now, Sharp does rally down the rest of his units, so maybe a little bit of an overpush there from Brain as well, but he killed quite a few units, got some value there for sure, and now Sharp is just rampaging through the center once again, but his supply, not that high. What I was talking about before, by the way, oh god, there's just so much action, I can't even talk about it. But he was laying mines here and had 3 Goliaths. He was waiting because he was laying the mines for the Observer plus Dragoons to come over, and then he was just going to scan and kill the Observers. So he had like this little group over here to pick off Observers. It's just such a crazy play to be doing. A beautiful, beautiful tactic. Trying to gain some value over on this side while his main army is over here, right? He had like, it was something like 12 supply over on this side, just kind of screwing around. Anyways, right now we have the double drop of just Speed Zealots, actually, into this base. Sometimes you have mines in here, and that could have caused a lot of damage, and in fact, it will cause a little bit. I don't know if it's worth the 2 speed shuttles full of Zealots, but it does kill some SCVs, it does kill the missile turrets, slows some mining, brings Sharp's army up here to clear it. I feel like if there was even 1 High Templar in there, that would have been a much, much better drop for Brain. But, you know, he does what he does, and the SCV count for Sharp is actually not very good right now. 47 is pretty darn low. That's like basically 2 bases mining, which, you know, I guess that is what he has left, but it's going to make it hard for him to continue in this game up to a 5th base. Now, Sharp is starting to attack, but he's actually not having tanks in siege mode deal much damage. So, right now, at the beginning of that battle at least, definitely Brain was having a better engage. He's getting on top of a lot of these siege tanks as well. The Speed Zealots go on top of the siege tanks. And in fact, he will end up clearing all of that. Dude, they are like trading armies so close to evenly. But you can see each time this is happening, it feels like Brain is actually gaining a little bit. The supply of Sharp is getting really, really low. I feel like he hasn't quite done enough keeping his siege tank count up. He's had to remake siege tanks so many times in here, which of course you don't want to treat them like they're babies that can never die for you. But you know, they're like, you do have to maintain them, right? That's the power of Terran, is scaling up with the siege tank count. But we've had several battles now where he's fighting with like 5 siege tanks instead of 12 to 14 siege tanks, right? And it's a huge difference on how efficient you are as Terran in the battle. So right now, Brain coming in, and he is going to be able to save this Nexus. I mean, pretty efficient from Sharp overall, considering how few units he has. More SCVs being sent up here. We do have a speed shuttle coming out. Oh, it's just Zealots again. Looks like, I think he's looking for command centers being made. See, he drops one off here, he'll check here, because he knows there's got to be a 5th base coming for Sharp pretty soon. And honestly, this map is, again, a little bit hard for Terran to take a 5th base. The 5th base is really, really far away. So, has some Zealots go down here. A lot of times you actually just build the 5th command center here, I feel like, to float it over, because stuff like this happens so much. But yeah, right now, Brain's starting to clear the center of the map a little bit. I think this is the exact perfect time to do this. You want to get all the mines off your side of the map, so you have very fluid unit movement through the map. Clearing a lot of mines here on the left. Floating this command center. Oh, it's his natural command center. He's going to float over as well. Might even want to bring this one. I mean, you start running out of your comm stats a little bit, but he could add one here. But yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to win the game with a push on the amount of bases he has. I really think he's going to need to get a 5th and probably a 6th base. Like, he's got a good defensive position, but right now, look, very healthy, very healthy. He's going to take this, which is going to be healthy. This is out, okay. This actually still has okay minerals. About the same as this, maybe a little bit more. And then, you know, this has fine minerals. So, you know, Sharp right now on 2 base, which you can play at 3-3. But realistically, like, he's going to max out about once more, right? Like, he can pretty easily max out with the amount of economy he has. After that, it's going to be almost impossible. Because by the time he maxes out and kind of does a push and needs to max out again, this is all going to be gone. And you can't max out with 1 mining base. So, like, this is actually incredibly important for him right now. So he does start to move across a little bit. Mostly Vulture Goliath coming over. Ooh, some Psystorm drops. Trying to catch SCVs on their way out. Does pick off that shuttle. Not the biggest amount of damage, but does need to repair some of these siege tanks. You see this roaming army from Brain on that left side of the map. I think that both of them are realizing that the game is heavily hinging. Well, here's the thing. Brain is winning right now, okay? Now, if Sharp can get this up in mining, that means he can probably get this up in mining, right? And then suddenly it's like, okay, well, the game is even / Sharp is at advantage, right? So I think right now, basically Brain's his important thing that he needs to do, I guess, strategically, is to try to deny this base. Now, does he deny it by attacking the front? Does he deny it with storm drops? Those are some different questions that he has to figure out what he wants to do. Now, he does start to fly in here. EMP goes down on the shuttles, but doesn't actually get any picks on him. Storms into these tanks. Yeah, he's going to break through this little area, it looks like. He's got a very, very big army fighting. Now, those are some excellent defense matrix. Excellent defense matrices here. He's having a much better fight than he should. Really, Sharp needs to bring all the rest of his units over here ASAP. And dude, unbelievable defense matrices. Unbelievable. I can't believe. Like, he had to run. Like, this army came over, which made it even more one-sided. But actually, the army that was over here was going to hold, which is insane. That was like 3 to 4 crazy defense matrices that went down. That just, like, it kept his army alive forever. Now, Sharp is super quickly doing a counterattack. I don't know if this is going to be the move that does it for him, because it feels like still there's just too much production from Brain. But if he can be really efficient as units are coming out, that's the thing, right? If you're making some units out of here and some units out of here, like, you might be able to just kill units off. Like, he might start sending units in trying to save off these bases, and then you start taking efficient engagements, and then when the other piece of the army comes over, it's like, yeah, I mean, technically he's up 40, 50 supply, but he's only fighting with half of it at any time, which means, yeah, you're going to be more efficient as Terran. So very tempo-oriented play here from Sharp. Now, right now, Brain moving across, he is going to lose this Nexus, which is a huge moment for Sharp. The D-Matrix tank just waiting for blood. This is kind of an interesting play. Yeah, and he's going to be able to clear that a lot more easily with only one unit. So, this all pretty much gets cleared. Okay? The push is pretty done. He's going to save the 4 Goliaths. Maybe he even catches this. That would be insane. Just barely not. We'll see if this this ends up really hurting. Excuse me. A lot of Vultures actually running up here to join in defensively. He saw that, you know, he just wants to shoot High Templars as they come out, basically. Just drops a single Zealot off, flies the shuttle over to the side. Gonna save that for now. Okay. Now, well, yeah, that little group of 4 tanks, that was kind of a weird position there. He clears that very quickly. Sharp resetting up over here in front of this this 5th base. Some storms going down as SCVs get transferred. He gets a fair amount, but it's still 47 workers against 50, so fine for Sharp as well. Continuing to bring down his units. Like, he's still got... Well, actually, he doesn't even have that. He only has 7 factories this entire game. That can happen sometimes in these really wild games with lots of, like, Psystorm and stuff. Like, everything gets grinded down so much, 7 factories sometimes will spend it for you. So it's kind of a rare to see a game this long with 7. Like, 8 is common. People stop at 8 a lot, but really, eventually you want to get up to, like, 11 if you can. 11 factories. It can make a huge difference. But here, Sharp has been doing well with what he's got. A lot of Vultures in the center right now. You can see the Goliaths and Vultures move together a lot for him. Kind of a common move for Sharp, always trying to pick off observers and things like that. The double speed shuttle coming up, there's 8 High Templars. You can see just how mineral low he is. It's not that he needs 8 High Templars. It's just like, well, we don't have as many minerals as we had before, where there's a ton of gas. Like, you never really end up using all your gas in this matchup. Really from either side, but yeah, that's like later games, sometimes you start seeing Archons and stuff. Archons are terrible against Terran. Like, Vultures can kill them. Everything kills them because they take full damage from everything. So, a bunch of probes being transferred. So we have these 2 mining bases, and that's it right now. And then we have these 2 mining bases, and that's it right now. So it's 2 mining base versus 2 mining base. A good 40-ish supply advantage here for Brain. But the setup is scary. He's got to be careful about that. Definitely you can lose an extra 40 supply pretty quickly. That's 20 extra units, right? But if you start running into some mines and whatnot, a shuttle gets picked off, things can go wrong. But he comes in, gets some psi storms off, very good psi storms, kind of blankets everywhere with these storms. Yeah, that is ridiculous how many psi storms he's actually throwing off. He is clearing through absolutely everything. This army is not as strong as it looks. Like, the psi storms, once they're gone, it's just a handful of Dragoons. So it still could be cleared. He's going to storm literally every SCV. Gets him down to 26 workers only. That's basically just the SCVs you see right here. The siege tanks, if there's no storms, well, there are still storms. I was going to say, this many siege tanks obviously kills that many goons at these upgrades. But, yeah, there's still storms to be had. And honestly, yeah, he should make a couple Archons in here for sure as well. He's almost got more storms coming up. Just absurd value out of the High Templars again and again and again. The command center was saved. The Archon obviously going to be picked off easily. Trying to clear the rest of these High Templars, and in fact will be able to take those out. So Sharp, I'm okay. I'm looking at this. Sharp actually roaming really well here. When we start to get to these lower supplies, so there's like, take away 25 of this. Pretend he's 100 supply against 132. The thing is, a lot of the supply you see on the Protoss side is weak, like Archons. When you start getting down to these really weird unit sets, Vultures become unbelievably strong, right? Like, you need a good amount of Dragoons to make sure Vultures don't crush. But, like, even a small group of Vultures here, if you look at these armies that he's fighting against, they can just out-micro. Like, they run out of storms quickly. They can kite against Archons. They can kill small amounts of goons. I think Sharp is, despite being at half the supply, I think he has actually a very decent chance of taking this game now. Kind of a crazy situation. But again, don't forget, like, over half of this is in the workers. He has less than half the workers here of his opponent. But it's still, it's like, well, he's down to like one mining base. Yeah, I guess we have 2 from Protoss, so maybe he can still overwhelm. Oh, I love this. The 4 Archon drop. This is actually really smart. 4 Archon drop on the siege tanks? Like, that's not too bad. And don't forget, Archons don't set off spider mines. So, like, they're a great thing to... I used to think when I was a noob, I was like, oh, yeah. You should just go Archons to clear the spider mines because they'll never get hit by them. Well, I guess it's technically true, but yeah, it's not really a thing. But in this particular case, in this weird game, like he can drop them in certain areas that you couldn't really drop your other units because the mines will get them, right? Like he could drop them into this main base very easily. And well, there's nothing really there for them to do right now, but it's a thing that can happen. Of course, EMP you're going to have to watch out for. Another Nexus coming down at that other main's 3rd base. It's been a point of contention here that Sharp has killed multiple times. Ooh, catches a shuttle coming. I actually didn't catch what was in that. Looking right now for those other shuttles. Might even EMP him. It's possible. No, he's going to save it. I feel like EMPing shuttles isn't that bad because if they fly near your Goliaths, they're going to die so quick. Oh, he's screwed. Yeah, he's going to lose... Oh! He actually has 3 of the Archons out, not too bad. And you can see, yeah, the Archons do end up dying pretty quickly. Tries to throw some storms down here. Great EMP actually hits most of the High Templars. There are still going to be some storms. Only 1 or 2 siege tanks remain. Great position. The mine's looking for that extra value that he kind of needs to hold at this point. What a close game this is. But I think we actually, like, this is it for mining for Sharp. And he's going to have to GG. Brain takes him down on the back of Archons. Holy crap, what a game. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. See you next time.